Greece today sold 1.95 billion euros worth of 6-month T-bills. The average yield 4.9%, bid to cover ratio 3.4. This auction came this morning as Sylvia caught up exclusively with the Greek finance minister, George Papakonstaminu, and she asked him if he's worried that Greece might now be tarnished by the rest of the Eurozone as opposed to what's happened previously.
We are talking about more than Greece at the moment. It is true that we have all realized that this is a systemic issue for Europe. And we are seeing, for example, that some of the continuing problems that we have with credit rating agencies stems from broader European issues, not from Greek issues. We continue to have, of course, to convince the market about the sustainability of our debt situation over the medium term. In that sense, the stretching of repayment terms for the 110 billion from the EU and the IMF, which will be decided soon based on the preliminary direction given by Eurogroup a month ago, will be very beneficial. However, our spreads remain at the level where they are because of the broader turbulence in European markets. I think that we're going to be seeing in the next 2 months major decisions that will once and for all settle the issue of the sustainability of debt in the Eurozone, and all the major mechanisms that need to be put on the table will be there to convince the markets that the Eurozone will defend itself, will defend its currency, will defend the countries that, of course, do what they have to do to be fiscally responsible and also competitive in a European common currency area.
Now, the Germans have been pushing very hard, particularly for a sort of shouldering of burdens, I dare say, that they said at the end of the day it can't be always the European taxpayer that pays for everything, for every rescue, and the bondholders, the investors don't. Is that indeed where we're going to be heading with some kind of permanent mechanism that these kind of burdens will have to be shouldered, which means also some kind of haircut, some kind of contribution from bondholders?
Well, the issue of burden sharing by the private sector is in principle, of course, absolutely right. The difficulty that we have in this debate, all of us, is how to put it in place without creating additional turbulence in the market. To give you an example, there are alternative ways for burden sharing, for example, through a transaction tax or some kind of a levy on banks, which ex ante puts that burden sharing. One of the problems that we have faced is that the original decisions for the type of burden sharing after 2013 was interpreted by markets as increasing the risk premium for peripheral countries now. And this was translated in moves, negative moves, by credit rating agencies. But this is an ongoing discussion. We're all learning from what's happening and from how the markets are reacting. And I'm sure that we will conclude with a kind of mechanism that will both reassure the markets and satisfy the principle of burden sharing, which is correct, because taxpayers cannot continue to foot the bill. And bondholders also need to be responsible for their actions.